Hi everyone, welcome to Practically, and today we are going to start the sample paper discussion in English. Hindi we have already completed, so this is an English version. We are starting with science. By the way, before we start, let us focus on the schedule, right? So today is, okay, let me take the pen first. So today is 18th of April. We are starting with the sample paper 1. So what we are going to do is a very simple thing. We are going to cover 2 sample papers. So few of our kids have requested that we needed the English one also. Though we have completed the Hindi one, but just to make things right for everyone and to make this thing wholesome and holistic, what we are going to do is we are going to take up 2 science, 2 maths. So today and tomorrow is science and then it is math. By the way, just remember we will cover physics, chemistry and math all in, physics, chemistry and biology. Math might know, works like this. So physics, chemistry and biology in science we cover in this in the complete 2 days, and the rest is math. Fine. So somehow I am taking the physics only, so bear with me. Let's move to the questions pattern. Remember that this is a subjective question paper, not a objective question paper. So you have 2 hours, you have total of 15 questions, and each part, that is physics, chemistry and biology, will have 5 questions each, right? Now we'll focus on these one by one. We're starting with physics, then it will be taken up by chemistry. Hey Ashray, good evening beta. And then it will be then taken by biology, right? So we start with the first question. It's a very good question, by the way. If you see this question in your exam, do remember to come back to this video and say that the same question came in your exam. Why so? Because this question requires one important concept of electricity, which is shorting. So what happens when you short the 2 terminals of a battery? So I give you one simple example. You take a battery, okay? You take a battery, you put one end of this, the positive part, and you connect it with the negative part via simple wire, like a very thin copper wire. Take a very thin copper wire. What will happen? The wire will start to become hot and the battery itself will start to become hot. It may explode also. So be safe when you do this. And it will create sparks when you connect it. It depends on the potential of the battery. If it is a small battery, it won't spark. If it is a big battery, don't do it. It's very harmful. Don't try this at home. Because it's enormous amount of energy is released because the resistance is very low. We consider that the resistance is approximately 0, never 0. Not a single thing in this, unless it is superconductor, the resistance cannot fall to 0 for a normal conductor at your home. So for this, what happens is the resistance is very small, the current is very high, infinity, very large. Now this creates an effect in which the heat is generated very high, okay, and therefore the battery starts to become hot and hot. Also it tells me that if I take a resistor wire and if I take a shorting wire and if I connect a battery like this in parallel, actually this is worthless. No current will flow through this resistance because it's like, consider like this again. You are moving through a free path. So there is a big highway and then there is a very small street. Obviously, you will always go through the big highway because it's very spacious. A lot of space is available for you to drive through. And hence the current also takes up the short path. It doesn't take up the resistance path, right? So the resistance path is gone. What is left is the short path. So the resistor, even though it is present in the system, is irrelevant. What it is, beta? It is irrelevant. Ashray, seek help you can always take later, okay? I think you can connect to your mentor, you can call them up and you can adjust. So don't worry about it, okay? Fine? Okay, so now what happens? This resistor has become irrelevant. It has become irrelevant. This is the same concept which is going to be used in this question. So if you read this question, you'll find that you have to deduce some expression for the 3 resistors R1, R2 and R3. We can do that. I'll do it in a separate page. Now I'm going to solve this first because actually A, B and C will give you the answer to this major question. Let's come back. Which 2 resistors are connected in series? First of all, let's start. The current is flowing via this wire it is going into this, so R4. But when it is entering to R3 and R2, it is getting split. The moment it gets split, it's a, of course, it's a parallel combination. Now this simply implies that R2 is parallel to R3. Now if I simplify this, I will get some R equivalent and it will become a simple single. Now the problem is the moment it enters, these two are same points, it is via shorted path or via resistance path. Now you understand, the current is entering via shorted path or via resistance path. The current will always completely flow through the shorted path and will not flow in this. So this is irrelevant. This is what you have to understand. This is irrelevant. Now this simply implies that the moment the current enters both the two resistors, it combines, or superposition actually it happens. Now this current follows the free path or the shorted path. Now the shorted path it takes, this becomes irrelevant and hence it flows through the resistance R5. So basically R1 is not R1, R4. R4 is in series with parallel combination of R2 and R3, R2 and R3. Also this combination is in series with R5, but R1 is irrelevant. Fine. So what happens? R4 is in series with the parallel combination of R2 and R3. So which two resistors are connected in series? R4 with parallel combination of R2 and R3 are connected in series. Now, which two resistors are connected in parallel? I already gave you the answer. R2 and R3. R2 and R3. You can also give this question as R4 and R5 are connected in series. R4 and R5 are connected in series. So you can also give this the second answer if you wish to. So you can give the correct answer would be or R4 and R5 are connected in series. R4 and R5 are connected in series. Okay. Now if this is done, if every resistor is 2 ohm, what current will flow? Of course, I have to find the equivalent resistance. This is what is being asked. Now, let me take this page. So whatever they have done, I don't care. I'm going to draw the circuit. This is my R5. This resistor has become irrelevant. I'll show you later. This is my I don't remember now. R3 and R2. This is R3, this is R2, and here is a resistor R4 and some battery whatsoever. Now, simple way to do this: R4, R2, R3 parallel, because R1 is irrelevant. So basically this resistance is like this. Let me just erase this. So what has happened is simple. R4 has come with the parallel combination of R2 and R3. Okay, and then R5. Now you can always simplify this. So what we can do is we can use all the property. So 1 upon R equivalent R dash, let's say, is nothing but 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon R3. If we simplify this, this is R2 plus R3 divided by R2 R3. So the R equivalent dash is R2 R3 by R2 plus R3. Fine. Now what has happened? This combination, parallel combination of this is in series with this. So the net equivalent resistance is R, what is that? R4 plus R5 plus the series. Now which has come is this R2 R3 divided by R2 plus. हो गया? I hope this is clear. Now they are saying in the question that this I have solved for this beta, okay. So this is actually wrong, you cannot deduce, okay. There is no R1, R2, R3 parallel combination. For this, the answer is just R2, R3 by R2 plus R3, okay. Now, if every resistor of this circuit is 2 ohm, if I take 2 ohm, if I put 2 ohm, then answer for part C is 2 plus, so that equivalent resistance is 2 plus 2 plus 2 times 2 by 2 plus 2. So this is 4 plus 1. This is 5. Okay. So what is the current? The current is V by R. So the current is V by R. So current is nothing but the potential difference was 5 volt divided by 5, which is 1 ampere, which is what is written. Oh, this is not ohm beta. This is ampere. So this is 1 ampere. Fine. I hope this is clear. Remember that R1 in this circuit was irrelevant. So if it is saying what is the expression for the equivalent resistance of the parallel combination of 3 resistors, so the parallel combination of R1 with R2, R3 is not relevant because this is connected. So it is R2 plus parallel to R3 only. Fine. Because R1 is irrelevant here. Now, let's move to the next question. The figure below shows 3 cylindrical copper conductors along with their face areas and lengths, whatever is there. Remember, to solve this question, you just need to remember R is equal to rho L by A. That is what you should remember. Now, if I remember that, this simply implies I know the L and A's. So let us write one by one the resistance for it. One very important point to understand: if the wire material is not changing, the specific resistance or the resistivity of the material is constant, and hence this R is just proportional to L by A. So the rho value is not connected to anyone because all of the same will have the same rho value or the specific resistance value because it's a material property and they all are of copper. If the material would have changed, then everything would have changed. Fine. तो करते हैं इसको. Now R is nothing but R1 in the first case is nothing but rho, length is L, area is A. In this case R2 is nothing but rho, length is 2L, area is A by 2. Now because this 2 is in the denominator, it will go into the numerator, so it will be rho L by A 4 times, because 2 into 2 will become 4. Got it? Now R3 is rho L, in place of L it is L by 2 by A, which is 2A. So this time this 2 in the numerator, which is in the denominator of the numerator, will come in the denominator. It will become 1 by 4 rho L by A. This is R3. Now it's super simple to see and understand that what will be the highest one. Apply your brain. There is one value called 100. There is a value called 400 because it is 4 times, and then there is a value called 25 because it is 1 by 4. So this is 100, 400 and 25. So of course, simple logic, this is the least. This is the least. So this is the highest. R2 is the highest because it is 4 times of the same value. This is x, this is 4x, this is 1 by 4x. Apply common math. This is 4x. So this is the highest. Which geometrical shape will have the resistance highest? In the second shape. Because the length is very large and the area is small. It's like a highway, not a highway, very thin, very slim street. Very long but very narrow. Narrow street, that's why very slow movement or higher resistance. Let's move to the next one. 2 circular coils P and Q are kept close to each other, okay? Of which coil P carries a current. What will you observe in Q? So those coils, so there are 2 coils. The coil P carries the current. So there is a current, okay? And then there is another coil. We'll just put a galvanometer or something. What will you observe if the current in the coil P is changed? Whenever there is a change in the current flowing through a coil, The flux attached to another coil changes, the magnetic field changes, and a current is induced. So there will be a sudden deflection in the galvanometer G. The galvanometer basically determines the direction of the flow of the current. So in this case, it changes because when I'm changing the current flowing in the wire in the coil P, the magnetic field which is emerging will start to change. This will indirectly change the magnetic field passing through the second coil, which is nothing but the flux. I have told you flux is nothing but magnetic field per unit area, normal, yeah. So that number will change. There is a sudden change in the magnetic field around a coil. This will create and induce a current. This is the same logic of electric generator, right? So now an induced current is formed and there will be a deflection. If both the coils are moved in the same direction with the same speed, nothing will change. No change. No change. There will be no deflection or nothing. The reason is the total flux attached will still be the same because the distance is not changing. So the number of lines that are passing through the second coil are still the same. You got the point. There is a 10 lines going through this part to this part. I am keeping both the same movement, moving both of them at the same speed. Still 10 are moving. What happens if I move it faster? Now there will be 5 going or 10 going or 15 going, 20 going. I don't know, but the number will change. This number is nothing but the magnetic flux will change and there will be an induced current. But in the case when the both are moving with the same speed, nothing will change. So simple question, simple answer. So no change, there will be no change because they are moving in the same direction. What if they are moving with the same speed but with different directions? Also the velocity is different. Then again the flux will change because the distance is going to increase and hence the number of field lines passing through the second coil and hence the flux and therefore an induced current you will notice. Super, let's move to the next one. Draw a diagram to represent a uniform magnetic field. A uniform magnetic field can be represented by the magnetic field inside a solenoid. It's a uniform magnetic field. I will show you the diagram because I'm very poor at diagram. So if you take a solenoid which is nothing but a coil, a helical part, so in that case if you pass a certain current, the magnetic field produced in that coil is a uniform magnetic field. It's a uniform magnetic field. Okay. Now let's come back to the second one. List two properties. So remember that this is a uniform magnetic field lines inside a current carrying coil. I have told you again, inside a solenoid the magnetic field lines are uniform. They are equally spaced with equal strengths. That's why it's a uniform magnetic field. Okay. List two properties of magnetic field lines. A magnetic field line, first property, no two magnetic field line can cross. Simple. The reason is if they cross, there will be two directions of the magnetic compass, which is impossible. A magnetic compass can only show one direction. It cannot show that this is left, right at the same time. It cannot align. So this is why two magnetic field lines can never cross. Second, the higher the strength of the magnetic field lines, the stronger they are, or the stronger the magnetic field. The closer the magnetic field lines are, the stronger they are. Okay. So you can use any of this. The degree indicates the strength of this, and of course the field lines never cross each other. Okay. And the magnetic field lines are always closed. I have told you they start from the north pole, ends in the south pole, and inside it ends from south to north. They are not an open part, they are a closed loop. Okay, let's move to the, okay, this is a question based on solenoid, but are very important. This kind of question can be asked in your exam because it has 4 different subparts. It's a case based kind of questions. And these are questions which are very important for you to understand the theory part also, right? So let's come back. There is a, of course, it's a solenoid. We all know it now. Let's just read it. When current is flowing, the magnetic field line resembles whatever, you know it. It's a simple, it's a magnet. It behaves like a magnet. Let's read the first question. What is the use of the current carrying solenoid? You all people should know this. Let's read the options now. It is used to distribute power. No. It is used to form a temporary magnet called electromagnet. I think it is yes. Electricity, you know, you cannot. It is used in nuclear reactions. This is wrong. What is right is it is used to form a temporary magnet called electromagnet. The moment a current is passed through a current carrying coil formed in the form of a long cylindrical tube, it resembles a bar magnet. It has a north pole and a south pole. Anti-clockwise direction of that wire, if the current is flowing in the anti-clockwise direction, the face resembles a north pole. If the face current is flowing in the clockwise direction, it resembles a south pole. So basically what you see is a north-south pole bar magnet. But this is not a fixed permanent magnet. No, the moment I close the current, or I close the key, or not close the key, I do this such that there is no current flowing in the circuit, then this magnetism is lost, and hence it does not behave as a magnet. So it is a magnet only when electric current is flowing through it, and that's why it's called an electromagnet. So the solenoid is used as an electromagnet, of course, super right. The current carrying solenoid behave as a bar magnet. I just told you, yes, it do behave as a bar magnet. I just told you, right? Next. The solenoid magnetic field is minimum. When it is minimum? Inside? No, it is the strongest, because the lines are very close and they are uniform. No, it is not minimum. No. Outside? Not outside. On the boundary, it may be outside if I have no other options to write. On the boundary, no. On the boundary, it is very close. So if you see a solenoid also, it is entering. The magnetic field lines are entering. So on the boundary, it is actually strong. It's not weak. Everywhere what it is minimum. Outside, yes. So outside it is minimum. Then the more you come closer to the solenoid, it becomes higher, and in the moment you touch at the periphery, it is the highest. Inside it is very strong. Okay, so it is outside, it is weak. Last question: what happens to the magnetic strength in the center of the solenoid? It remains the same. It becomes halved, it becomes doubled, it becomes tripled. So I think it remains the same. In the center of the solenoid, nothing will change. It remains the same, okay? It can be higher also. This question is a little tricky, but I think it remains the same. We can have it becomes doubled. Half is not right. So what we will do, we'll do this discussion later on maybe, but for the time right now, we are focusing that it remains the same, right? Anything else change, we'll see, okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pass on the mic to Tanvi ma'am so that she can continue with chemistry section. Just remember the dates are today, tomorrow is science. Then after those 2 days, we have maths, right? Just 1 minute to wait. Fine.
Hey, let's start the chemistry section. And here are the chemistry question first. So, explain isomerism. State any 4 characteristics of isomers. Draw the structure of possible isomers of butane C4H10. So, what we are going to do is, first of all, we need to understand what are isomers. Look, this question is very important. Very important. So, what is isomerism? Isomerism is what? Simply when you are having same molecular formula. Same molecular formula, but different in structures, okay? But different in structures. Different in structure. These are what? These are called isomers. These are called isomers. So look, why I have written these things, because these are the keywords to write the definition of isomer. So what are isomers? Which are having same molecular formula but different in structure. These are called isomer. And what are the four characteristics of isomers? Let's see. So first of all, they different in the structure formula. So I have to show you first the structure of butane. Okay. So let us talk about the butane structure, then we'll come back to their characteristics. So if you see the both structure for N-butane and 2-methylpropane, that is your isobutane. These are the two possible structures of your butane. But means 4 carbon. But means 4 carbon, and this is N, that is alkane is there. So 4 carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 carbon, it is a straight chain. That's why we are saying it is the N-butane. It is having how many carbon? 4 carbon, 10 hydrogen. For this is also butane. But what kind of butane? It is a isobutane, or if the IUPAC name you want to give, it is a 2-methylpropane. So here, if you can see how many carbons are there? 4 carbons are there. How many hydrogens are there? 10 hydrogens are there. 3, 3, 6, 3, 9, 1, 10. So 10 hydrogens are there. So if you see that C4H10 for both the structure, that means the molecular formula is same, but the structure is different. It is a straight chain, but it is a branch chain. So these two are what? Isomers. So isomers are what? Which are having same molecular formula but different in structure. So what are the characteristics? What are the characteristics? They differ in structural formula. Second, they differ in melting point. So you have seen the structures are different. If structures are different, then their melting point is different because bonds are different. They differ in boiling point also. They differ in solubility in same solvent. That means something is soluble in water and something is not soluble in water. So both of the thing lies on the structure. So isomers have these kinds of characteristics. So remember this thing. Okay. Next, give reasons for the following. Element carbon form compound mainly by covalent bond. Why is it so? Why it is formed bonding by covalent bond only? Why not ionic bond? So if I talk about carbon, carbon has 4 valence electron. If it is having 4 valence electron, that means it can either give the 4 electrons, that is 4 positive, or it will gain the 4 electrons. So it will give 4 electrons, then it will left with only 2 electrons in the shell, and now 6 protons are holding these 2 electrons. So here, to remove these 4 electrons, you need to provide a very high amount of energy, correct? You need to provide a very high amount of energy. That's why it cannot give 4 electrons. If I talk about if it gain 4 electron, then this 6 proton which are present inside the nucleus of carbon atom, it is holding 10 electrons. It is holding 10 electrons. So 6 protons inside the nucleus, they are holding 10 electrons, which is not good for the stability. So it will not stable. So that's why it cannot lose, it cannot gain 4 electrons. That's why it will neither lose nor gain. What it will do? It will share the 4 electrons. How it will share? Let's talk about the methane. Let's say how many hydrogens are there? 4 hydrogens are there. So carbon has 4 valence electron. So 1 electron it will share and form the covalent bond. Now if you look at this, all the hydrogen has completed its duplet, all this carbon has completed its octet. So that's why now it is stable. So that's why it is not, it can't be sharing 4 electron, it can't share, it can't lose 4 electron, it can't gain 4 electrons. So what it will do? It will share its 4 electron and become stable. Okay. Now diamond has a high melting point. Why is it so? Let's talk about these both structure, diamond and graphite structure. If I talk about diamond structure now, so it is having carbon. Okay. Now carbon have 4 valence electron, correct? Now in diamond, the structure is tetrahedral. That means this carbon is connected with 4 other carbons like this. So there is no valence electron left. So here this carbon is attached with the 4 other carbon and the bond is very strong. So you need to provide a very high amount of heat to break this bond. So due to their structure, it is having a high melting point. But what about graphite? So graphite, it is attached with only 3 carbon and 1 valence electron is left. So this one free electron, what will it do? This free electron will help to conduct the electricity. Okay, so wherever it is a free electron, then it will help in the conduction of electricity. So graphite is a good conductor of electricity because carbon is bonded with 3 other carbon atoms and it has only 1 free valence electron. That's why this free electron will help in the conduction of your electricity. So I have written the reason over here. It is because carbon has 4 valence electron. It cannot gain or lose 4 electron because high energy is needed. It can only share 4 electrons. First thing. Second, each carbon is covalently bonded to 4 other carbon atoms in diamond. That's why the bond is very strong. So you need to provide a very high amount of energy so that it will have a high melting point. This is because covalent bonds are strong. This is the reason why diamond has a high melting point. In graphite molecule, 1 valence electron of carbon. So the structure is like this and 1 free electron is there. So due to this availability of free electron, it will be a good conductor of your electricity. So graphite can conduct electricity. Therefore, graphite is a good conductor due to the availability of the free electrons. Okay. Next, an element M has atomic number 11. Writes its electronic configuration. Is M a metal or a non-metal? Write the formula of its chloride. So, if it is having atomic number 11, so M11, what will be the electronic configuration? 2, 8, 1. Correct? Now, it is a metal or a non-metal. If it is having 1 valence electron, what it will do? It will try to lose this electron. So, whenever there is a losing of electron, it will be considered as a metal, and non-metal have the tendency to gain electron. So, it is losing 1 electron, that's why it is a metal. If it is gaining the electron, then it will be called as a non-metal. Write the formula of its chloride. Now, the valency of this metal is 1. And we need to write the formula of its chloride. So, chlorine has also the valency of 1. Now, this M, now you can just cross multiply. This is how we write the chemical formula. First we write the symbol of the element, then valency, then we will just cross multiply it. We will get the chemical formula of that compound. Wait. So it is MCl. So it is MCl. MCl. Okay. So here 1 valence electron, 1 valency. So cross multiply it, you will get the chemical formula. So first of all, you need to understand what will be the electronic configuration. Okay. After writing the electronic configuration, see the valency. If it can lose the electron, then it will be considered as metal. If it can gain electron, then it will be considered as non-metal. What will be the formula of its chloride? Write the symbol, just cross multiply the valency, you will get the chemical formula. Okay. Next, the atomic number of 3 elements. So X, Y, Z are the 3 elements which is having atomic number 9, 11 and 17. Which 2 of these elements will show similar chemical properties and why? So first of all, you need to understand that the chemical properties are derived from the valency, that the number of valence electron. If the valence electron are same, then the chemical properties will be same. So here, if I write the electronic arrangement, so 2, what? 2, 7. 2, 7. Wait. 2, 7. It will be the electronic configuration for X. What about Y? 2, 8, 1. So here 2, 8, 7. So now you can see that X and Z both are having 7 valence electron. So same number of valence electron, what it will determine? It will determine the chemical properties. So if you are having the same valence electron, then they will be having the same chemical properties, because the chemical properties are driven from the number of valence electron. So 2, 7, 2, 8, 1, 2, 8, 7, X and Z will show similar chemical properties due to the same number of valence electron. Okay, next. In a chemistry lecture, now this is a case study question. Now in case study question, it is a 4-mark question. Now in a chemistry lecture of class 10, the topic of discussion in the lecture was about the periodic classification of element in the periodic table. The class was discussing about the contribution of scientists in this topic. They came across Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner while lecture. Dobereiner made the first observation on platinum as a catalyst and discovered similar triads of element, which led to the development of the periodic table of element. The above image shows a table with few groups of 3 elements. Refer to the table and answer. So here there is a Dobereiner's triad. Okay, there is a Dobereiner's triad. Now name the word given by Johann Wolfgang Dobereiner to the group of the element he used for the classification. Which word he used for his classification? So we know that the name of that law is Dobereiner's triad, because he took 3 elements which is having same properties and their masses, if they take the average atomic mass of this element, then first plus third divided by 2, it will give the atomic mass of the middle element, that is the second element. So what is Dobereiner's triad? He take 3 elements, he put it one category, and these elements have the same property. The first and the third element have the atomic mass. If you take the average atomic mass of first and third element, then you will get the atomic mass of the middle element, that is the second one element. So this is called what? Dobereiner's triad. Next, find out which group from the above table from Dobereiner's triad. So here if you see the Dobereiner's triad table, then you will find that only B and C, which is having calcium, strontium, barium, these are having the what? They are having the same Dobereiner's, or they are following the Dobereiner's triad. They are following the Dobereiner's triad. Okay. So only B and C are following the Dobereiner triad, because the average atomic mass of second element is equal to the average atomic mass of your first and the third element. Next, identify the correct Dobereiner triad from the option. Lithium, sodium, potassium, chlorine, lithium, potassium, chlorine, none of the above. So if you take the lithium, sodium, potassium and potassium, then lithium is 7, potassium is 39. If you just take the average atomic mass, then it will be 48 divided by 2, which will give you 24 around something. So approx 24. So here we are having 7, 39. If you take the average atomic mass, then you will be getting 24, or nearly sometimes they are having in the decimal places 6 point something. Sometimes the average atomic mass is 6.3 something, potassium is something. So it will go to the average atomic mass of 23. So approx 23 you are getting, that is what? The atomic mass of the middle element. Okay. So lithium, sodium, potassium, they are the correct Dobereiner's triad. Then Dobereiner's triad were written in the order of increasing what? Volumes, masses, number, or sizes. What do you think? So Dobereiner's triad were written in the order of increasing masses. So they all done this experiment on the increasing atomic masses. Only in the modern periodic table we have the increasing atomic number, and till now we are using only atomic number because it can justify the whole modern periodic table. Okay, so Mendeleev, Dobryners and Newland law of octave, they all are based on the increasing atomic masses. Okay, so B is the correct answer. So Dobryners tried were written in the order of their increasing masses. I hope it is clear. Now Smithin sir will take over to this biology thing and he will be explaining all the questions which are important for your exam. So just wait for 1 minute. Smithin sir will be there. Okay, bye bye.
Hello dear students. So I hope you are preparing well for the exams and we have seen some important questions from physics and chemistry. Now let's quickly move on to biology. Here's the first question for your sample paper. Name this, it's a diagram based question. Name the parts A, B and C shown in the following diagram and state function of all of them. So as you can see, here is the diagram of different parts of flower. Okay, so yeah, please try to answer. Hello. Okay. So if you are watching, please try to answer this question. It's a very simple question. A, what is A over here? Okay, let's see. A is the anther. So remember, if they have pointed out only the upper part, if they would have pointed out to the entire structure, then we would have written A as stamen. Okay, because stamen consists of anther and filament, but they have pointed only A, that is the anther part. So you will write anther and the function of it is going to produce pollen grains. Okay, then B, they have pointed out towards the long tube-like structure, that is the style. Style is a long tube-like structure which is going to provide path through which the pollen tube grows. Okay, and then C, they have pointed out towards the ovary. So ovary function we all know, it contains ovules and each ovule has an egg cell which contains the female gamete. Okay, which is further going to develop into fruit after fertilization. So these are the different parts of flower. Very simple diagram based question. They might also ask you to draw this in some of the questions. So diagrams, please do practice the diagrams, because I know most of you must have left the habit of drawing diagrams since past few months. But this time don't take the risk. Do practice some important diagrams, as diagram based questions might come very well. Here is the second question. State the changes that takes place in uterus when is the first case, implantation of embryo has occurred. Second, female gamete egg is not fertilized. Yeah. So what would be the answer? What changes will take place in uterus based on these two conditions? So let's see the answer. The first condition, what was the first case? Implantation of embryo has occurred. So once the implantation occurs in the inner lining of the uterus, it is supplied with blood vessels to provide nourishment to the growing embryo. Once it has got embedded, so this diagram is just for reference. You need not draw this diagram. This is just for your explanation. Once in the uterus, the embryo is embedded, then further it is going to undergo, blood vessels are going, the uterus is going to thicken. This is the keyword over here. The main essence of the answer which you have to mention is the lining of uterus thickens and is supplied with blood vessels to provide nourishment to the growing embryo. That would be the answer for the first case, implantation of embryos occurred. Second, if female gamete or egg is not fertilized, then what will happen to uterus? Then if it is not fertilized, then the thickened uterus lining is no more required and it breaks down. Okay, again this is the keyword over here.
that the uterus, the thickened uterus will start breaking down. Okay, it breaks down and comes out of vagina as blood and mucus, also known as menstruation. So basically the menstrual cycle will start if the female gamete is not fertilized. Okay, so that you have to mention over here about the menstrual, like the uterus wall will break down and menstrual cycle will start. Okay, just mention, focus on the keywords. Depending upon time, you can explain your answer. Depending upon the number of like marks allotted to the question, try to answer. Don't waste so much of your time in writing big explanations. Okay, because you have to attempt the entire paper nicely. Okay, moving on to the next question. A child questions his teacher that why do organisms resemble their parents more as compared to grandparents? In which way will the teacher explain to the child? So it's like kind of a more case-based question. You have to explain properly in your own words. Let's see how to answer. Yeah. So, so we have to first write about the basics of sexual reproduction. That, you know, in sexual reproduction there is fusion of male and female gamete to form a zygote, right? Now, which further develops into young child showing similarities with the parents. Now, the child inherits its characters from both the parents. Okay, here you have to mention about inheritance. This question is also from the heredity chapter, heredity and evolution. So the child inherits characters from both the parents and resemblance with them is very close. Okay, whereas the grandparents and the child resemble less because of the gap of gene pool created by parents of the child. There is obviously a gap because the child is directly getting the genetic traits from its parents, but grandparents are comparatively, there is a gap, there is generation gap between them. That's why there is a gap in the gene pool, the characters which are inherited, and that's why the organisms resemble to their parents more as compared to grandparents. Okay, this point is also important. Variations of two generations, mixing and addition of new variations from parents increases the difference between them to the greater extent. So this word is very important. You need to mention about variation in your answer, that because there is variation while there is the sexual reproduction, so obviously that variation will cause more difference as the generation goes down. Okay, so this is what you have to explain in this answer. Moving on further to the next question. Explain how characteristics or traits are inherited through genes. Yeah, so again there is a big explanation here, but we have to focus on the keywords and some important points should be covered. Okay, so first you will write that genes the question was explain how characteristics are inherited through genes. So of course, these are the introductory part. Again, you can just cut it down based on what is important for you. The first important point you have to mention is the characteristics or traits of parents are transmitted to their progeny through genes. And where are genes present? They are present on chromosomes during the process of sexual recombination. Again, this diagram is for your explanation. We know that on DNA, there are certain regions which code for certain characters which are called as genes, and chromosomes, we all know there are 23 pairs of chromosomes in 2 sets present in human beings. Now, there is a pair of genes for each character, and from each parent only one of the 2 genes of the pair for each character is transmitted to the progeny through gametes. Okay, so from each parent only one pair is going to come from all of them, and that's why both male and female gametes carry only one gene for each characteristics. Again, mentioning this point is important over here, that the gametes are haploid and they are going to carry only one set of chromosome or one part of the gene, okay, which are further going to fuse. So when they fuse, they make a new cell called zygote with a full set of genes, okay, and that has the genes coming from both the parents. Okay, so that is how the traits are inherited from both the parents. Okay, that you have to explain this thing in your own word. Hello, Manish. Welcome to today's session of sample paper discussion. We are discussing now some important questions or the sample paper questions from biology section. If you have any query in it, please feel free to ask. You can comment, you can type in the chat box. if you can also ask any questions based on the previous physics and chemistry what we have discussed. Okay, so moving further, so these are the keywords we need to add in our answer. Here is the next question. I'll mark it as star because this is very important question. This topic itself is important, which is based on the Mendel's laws of inheritance, and this is a numerical based question. So please pay attention properly how to solve it stepwise. Okay, so here's the question. Mendel first crossed purebred pea plants having round yellow seeds with purebred pea plants having wrinkled green seeds. Now whenever they say purebred, okay, don't get fearful. What is this purebred? They basically mean to say that they are homozygous here. Okay, we all know what is homozygous. Homozygous having both same in an allele, the pair of alleles, that is exactly the same. Like in this case, having round and yellow seeds they are mentioning. We all know that round and yellow is the dominant character. So how will you represent? You represent it as capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. Okay, and purebred, that's why it's homozygous, that's why we have both this capital over here. Okay, now with purebred pea plants having wrinkled green seeds, then again this is purebred, this is homozygous, but this is wrinkle and green, which we know that is a recessive character. So we'll represent it as small r, small r, small y, small y, and found that only round yellow seeds were produced in F1 generation. So again, we are going to draw a proper chart, the Punnett square, and the proper step by step. That time we will come to know that why only round and yellow seeds were formed in F1 generation. But while you are reading the question, that time itself you underline and note it down. What is the nature of the parents? These two are the parents. Parent 1, parent 2. Okay. Now, after F1 generation is formed, F1 generation pea plants having round yellow seeds were crossbred by self-pollination. So that is a selfing process. We'll get F2 generation. Then peas having round yellow seeds, round green seeds, wrinkle yellow seeds, and wrinkle green seeds were produced. So again, this is nothing but dihybrid cross which they have mentioned. Okay. They have mentioned Mendel's dihybrid cross. Now we all have studied dihybrid cross. We also know how to make the Punnett square. We will get 16 boxes in it, and how to write the dihybrid cross. This is all we are going to get in it. Okay. Now here is the main question now. Okay, this was the main introduction or the main parts of the question. These are the two. This question has various parts in it, A and B. A itself has 4 parts. What will be number of round green seeds, wrinkle green seeds, round yellow seeds, and wrinkle yellow seeds? See, there is a catch over here. Mendel collected total 2160 of seeds. So this is, as I said, this is a numerical based question. So this number has to be noted. These many seeds were found. So we have to tell how many from this 2160 seeds, how many were round green seeds, wrinkle green seeds, and all. Okay. Hello, Ashray. Good evening. Welcome. We are discussing a very important and interesting question. Try to solve this and try to answer. All of you can actually type the answer because this is numerical based question. The answer will be just one number. Okay. So all of you will try to solve along with me. We are anyways going to see the solution. Okay. And the second part, B part, is which ratio as established by Mendel have you made use of in answering the part A above? Okay. Simple question. Just don't go on the length. It looks big, but it can be easily solved if we draw the proper Punnett square and proper steps. So let's see how to solve this. So very first thing you will do is you will first write step by step. So what were the parents? You will write parents. Okay. Then you will write their gametes. Then F1 generation will be formed. Then we are going to do selfing of this. So again you will write gametes for after the selfing, and then we'll have the F2 generation. Okay. So what are the parents? So we had seen in the previous question, right? Homozygous, this was parent 1, capital R, capital Y, R, capital Y, capital Y, and this was the parent 2. So these are the parents. So let's write down crossed with, right? Now what will the gametes form? Since this is homozygous, only one type of gamete will be formed here, that is RY, and here also one type of gamete, small r, small y. And when they fuse together, the F1 generation will have capital R, capital Y, small y. And how they will look? They will still look round and yellow, because they have capital R, capital Y, which is a dominant character, dominant trait, right? Now, we are going to do selfing of this. Selfing means cross breeding with each other. So, what will be the gametes? Now, this will form 4 types of gametes since this is heterozygous. That will be capital R, capital Y will be one gamete, capital R, small y will be another gamete, small r, capital Y will be another gamete, and small r, small y will be another gamete. We are going to do selfing. This crossed with the similar set of gametes. So, then you will get F2 generation. We will be making the Punnett square. I am not making it here right now because you already know how to make it, and we have also discussed it in the one-shot session. If you have missed it, do go and check it back in the playlist of one-shot session on hereditary and evolution. So, just simply I am writing here, this will be the gametes and RY, and then same will be, you will writing on this side, small r, capital Y, small r. So now, if you draw the entire Punnett square, you are going to get total 16 possibilities, okay? And we all know what is going to be the ratio. Since we have studied the Mendel's dihybrid cross, the ratio which we are going to get out after solving this is going to be 9:3:3:1. This is the fixed ratio which we are going to get in the Mendel's dihybrid cross, okay? Now tell me what is 9 over here and what is 3, 3 and 1. We all know the 9 over here are going to be the dominant one, that is round and yellow, right? 3 over here are going to be round and green. The another 3 will be wrinkled and yellow, and 1 will be wrinkled and green. Okay, this is the ratio which you are going to get. Now, based on this, let's solve the question. So, it's very simple. The first part of the question said, what will be the total number of round green seeds? So, now see, we have to use simple mathematics here. We know that round green seeds, see, this is what, if you add up this ratio, if you add 9:3:3:1, it gives 16, right? So, if I ask you how many round yellow seeds we have, then what will be your answer? Round yellow seeds are 9 out of 16, right? Round green seeds are 3 out of 16. Wrinkled yellow are again 3 out of 16, and 1 is wrinkled green, that is 1 out of 16. Okay, this is how you can interpret the ratio mathematically. So, they have asked what is the total number of round green seeds. So, that will be what? It will be round green seeds. Round and green are 3 out of 16, right? So, I will write 3 out of 16 of what? Total number of seeds are 2160 seeds, right? So, 3 out of 16 of 2160 seeds are actually round and green. So, if you just simply solve it mathematically, this is what you will get. Okay, 3 by 16 into 2160 is 405. Similarly, wrinkled green seeds, we had seen wrinkled green seeds is 1 out of 16. So, just multiply total number of seeds 2160 which is given in the question by 1 by 16, you will get 135. Round yellow seeds are 9 out of 16, as we had seen here, round yellow seeds are 9 out of 16, multiplied by total number of seeds, that is 1215, and finally wrinkled yellow seeds are also 3 by 16, that is 405. So in very easy way, by simple mathematical calculation, you can get total number of seeds of whatever mentioned in the question. Okay, so this answers the A part of the question, that is what will be the number of these seeds. The B part was which ratio as established by Mendel have you made use of it? Simple, that is 9:3:3:1. Okay, this is the dihybrid cross ratio. This ratio we have used for answering this question. Got it? So in this way you can answer this question. Again, I'm saying this is an important question. Do practice such type of question. It's very easy. Do practice solving the making dihybrid cross step by step, mentioning parents, gametes F1, gametes F2 properly and the ratio, and you can easily solve it based on simple mathematical calculation. Okay. Now here's another question for this sample paper. Let's see. This is from the R environment section. Some hunters are roaming in the plush green forest of Africa. They spot a deer and kill it. They decide to roast the deer there and then eat it. When the hunters just finish enjoying the feast of roasted deer, a lion attacks them. The lion kills one of the hunters and eats his flesh. Write a food chain which provides food to lion in this case. That is the A part of the question. B. Which animal other than deer the lion could look for food if he did not get the hunter as prey? C. Which other animal in the forest could have been in place of lion? D. How does the above food chain differ from the food chain such as plants, goat, man? Okay, interesting question, isn't it? So let's see, let's try to answer this question. Yeah. So the A part of the question was write food chain which provides food to lion in this case. So the food chain is plants eaten by deer, which was eaten by hunter, that is man, and which is eaten by lion. That is the simple food chain you will draw. Then the second part of question was which animal other than deer the lion could look for food if he did not get hunter as prey. So lion, he could look for rabbits in the forest, which are another types of herbivores. So lions eats mostly the herbivores, since the lion is a secondary consumer, tertiary consumer over here. So then the next question was which other animal in forest could have been in place of lion. So there could be tiger in place of lion, since tiger is also a flesh eating animal and they could have attacked the hunter. And the last question, how does the above food chain differ from the food chain plants, goat and man? It differs in this way. This food chain, man is at the end, right? Man is the topmost consumer in this chain, but in this case man is not the topmost consumer, lion is the topmost consumer. So man is a prey here. In this way this food chain differs from the other one. Okay, so this is how you will answer this question. Yeah, fine. This is one more question. Gas A is used by most of the animals to obtain energy from food by process of respiration. When A is acted upon by radiation X, it gets converted into another gas B, which is an allotrope of A but poisonous when inhaled. B forms a kind of layer C in the upper atmosphere which absorbs radiation X coming from a source Y and prevents them from reaching Earth. Some chemicals Z released from the various devices on the Earth are destroying the layer C slowly. In fact, a hole has already been formed in layer C over the area D of the Earth. So if you read this, the picture is already clear. They're talking about global warming, they're talking about ozone layer. So we have to just identify A, B, C, D over here and then answer questions based on it. It's very simple and yet interesting type of question. Let's answer it quickly. First question is, what are gases A and B? Write their molecular formula. So we know gas A is used by animal to obtain energy from food, that is oxygen, molecular formula is O2. Very simple. And gas B is ozone, molecular formula of which is O3. And radiation X which are mentioned over are the ultraviolet rays. Name the layer C. The layer C is ozone layer, which they had mentioned is getting depleted, and gas B, ozone, forms ozone layer in the stratosphere. Simple. Then what are X, Y and Z, as they had mentioned here? Radiations coming from X coming from source Y, that has to be X are the ultraviolet radiation come from sun, so Y is sun, and Z are the chlorofluorocarbons which are released from refrigerator which are destroying the ozone layer. Okay, that answers the C. Then name the area D and name any two human ailments which may be caused by X. So so ozone layer has been formed over Antarctica's upper atmosphere. So D is nothing but the upper atmosphere of Antarctica, and the two ailments caused because of the ultraviolet rays. This skin cancer is one out of them, and this radiation can also cause cataract over the time. Okay, so this is how you can answer this question from our environment. Okay, fine. So that is all for today, and here are some important topics you should not miss from how our organisms reproduce. That is fission, vegetative propagation, longitudinal section of flower, male and female reproductive system in humans, and contraception. These are important topics from the chapter how organisms reproduce. And from hereditary and evolution, sex determination in humans, Mendel's laws, and monohybrid and dihybrid cross, and inherited and acquired characters. These are the important topic. And from our environment, biomagnification, ozone and ozone layer, biodegradable and non-biodegradable components, and trophic levels are the important topics from which more questions are expected. So please do prepare this topic properly. And we are going to have more sample paper discussion. Today we completed sample paper 1 for science. Tomorrow we have sample paper 2 for science again. And next 2 days we have math. So do attend the sample paper discussion every day from 7 to 8. And stay tuned with us. Download the Practically app where you can find all these sample papers what we have discussed over here, which will help you for revision. And do subscribe if you haven't, so that you will be notified as we are going to come up with more such sample paper discussions for you to help you all for your term 2 exam preparation. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. See you all in the next session.